Gloria Strode, and welcome to Straightforward. Today I am visiting with Ashlee Griffin, and Ashlee has been on a journey that has really tested her faith and her strength. Welcome, Ashlee.
Thank you, Ms. Strode.
I tell you, it is a pleasure, and we have a mutual friend, Toya Winder, and of course, Toya and I go back to working at the Battered Women's Shelter.
Right.
And when I interviewed her about her mom having pancreatic cancer, she said, "Oh, you have to meet my friend Ashlee, who has a foundation." Okay, and so the foundation is
the Lola Strong Cares Foundation, and it's named after my mom.
It's named after your mom.
Yes, ma'am.
And so your mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And when was she diagnosed?
She was diagnosed in 2017.
2017. And how long was her journey?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. So she stayed in that fight. Yeah. Because we have our drum major for justice, John Lewis. And so we watched him all the way to the end.
Yes.
I mean, he was a fighter. So what was, Mom is Lola.
Yes.
And she is from Bellwood.
Bellwood.
And her maiden name is
Barnes.
Yes. So for the people that know her from her village.
Right.
And it's important to have the people from your village,
right,
especially when you're in a fight for your life.
Yes.
Yes. And so when Mom was first diagnosed, how did she handle that? What did she do? I know, you very supportive daughter, loving and caring,
right?
But every journey is different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what did that look like?
She said, "Lord, I thank you."
Really?
I'm in tears, of course, but her words, even when she had a failed Whipple procedure, which is the procedure they do to try to remove the tumor. It was a failed procedure.
A failed what?
Procedure. It was a Whipple. It's called a Whipple.
Whipple. Okay. All right. We want to educate you.
Yes. So WHIPPLE.
Okay. So you're educating me because I'm not familiar with that.
So if you go through chemo, and not to get off topic, but
go ahead.
If you go through chemo and the tumor shrinks to a certain size, and the surgeon looks to see if he could try to remove it, that's what they'll do. So she went through 2 rounds of chemo, and it finally got to a point where they thought they could remove it.
Right.
But when we got up to Emory, and he got her in surgery, and he got in the area, he pulled some tissue back, and he said she was just full of cancer in that particular area. And it wouldn't have done him no good to remove the tumor. Right. So he told me he just left it. And so I had to be the one to tell her.
Oh my goodness.
That it was a failed procedure.
Really?
He aborted the surgery when he found out that it was
too progressive.
Yeah.
Wow. So what symptoms? And you went to Emory, so that's, that's the best. That's the best care. So what did you do? I know it was like a bad dream, and you had to be the one to tell her. Of course, she trusts you, and you all loved each other and supported each other. So how was that for you? It was like walking through a cloud. Because see, for those that have never gone through any life-changing medical things with their parents, they can say they understand, but until you walk in those shoes, you do not understand. Right. And so you had to put the brave face on, the big girl pants.
Oh, yeah.
And then have that conversation.
Yeah.
What was that like?
She said it again. She said, "Lord, I thank you." Like that was all she ever said. Whether the news was bad, whether the news was good, her motto has always been, "Lord, I thank you."
In all things, give praise.
Give praise.
Oh, Lord, that is a solid foundation, isn't it? So she was a member of
Greater Bellwood Baptist.
Greater Bellwood Baptist. So she was trained up in her village, because she's from Bellwood, and of course I do know the Hendersons and some other people from Greater Bellwood from way back.
Reverend Hill.
Yes, Reverend Hill, great pastor. And so how did she go day by day? Once you all received the diagnosis that it was too progressive.
She actually did well upon diagnosis. I mean, she still was getting around, going through chemo. She still, of course, I was there, but she still was kind of moving around really well. And she also went through radiation, so she did everything possible. She did chemo, radiation, and the surgery, which is everything that you could do.
Right. And the radiation has its own thing. Well, the chemo has side effects, but then radiation because I know my father-in-law had that.
Right.
And it burns the skin
Oh,
and it does a lot. So she was a trooper all the way through all
Yeah,
that.
she was. Her first round of chemo was 4 different medicines, and it was 6 hours.
Really?
So we would be down in John B. Amos for about 6 hours on her chemo day. And then the second time she went through it, it was 2 different medicines, and that one was only about 2 hours a day. And then they put her in radiation, so she did that from like February 1st to February 28th. That was every day. For 28 days straight, she got radiation.
Really?
Every day. Yeah.
So the side effects of that, she was sick. Was she able to eat, sleep? Because it's different with everybody.
She wasn't really eating. She wasn't really eating. In her last stages, when she got put on hospice, she did well for a couple of months, and then she just started declining, which they told me that's
to expect that. Right.
Yeah.
But even when they tell us that, I always tell people,
oh, it's in God's
your
name.
intellect might tell you that, but your heart will not line up with your intellect. Right. Because especially someone of faith, we're going to keep asking for that miracle until the very last, until he shows us something different.
Well, you know, she was on hospice for 9 months.
Really?
They gave her 6.
Okay.
So she did 3 extra ones.
3.
Now, it's funny because March is my birth month, and March was the 6-month mark.
Really? She wasn't going to do that.
She wasn't going to do that. And then my brother got killed in March.
Really?
It was only 2 of us. That was her other child. He got killed in 1993.
Okay. So she wasn't going to have any more significant events in
right.
March.
So she fought out for me. And she went June 17th.
3 more months. Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yep.
Oh, yes. I tell you, isn't that something? Yeah, because faith, you know, they'll say mind over matter.
Right.
But we know that faith, we can move mountains.
Yes.
Yes. And so even though she was very sick, she just fought through those last 3 months.
Yes.
Okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to go to our first break to our sponsors, and we'll be right back. All right. We'll be right back after a word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front lines for veterans every day. The Columbus Memory Center, 7196 North Lake Drive, Suite A, Columbus. Dr. Jonathan Liss is a board-certified neurologist and sleep specialist committed to battling Alzheimer's by preserving independence, offering you the opportunity to get your memory number for free, the only vital sign for brain health. Call today at 706-327-4000 or visit columbusmemorycenter.com. The Miley Agency, 4903 Armour Road. Gerald L. Miley and William Ripsinger have been providing comprehensive reviews and insuring families in Georgia and Alabama for more than 50 years. The Miley Agency will work non-stop to find you the best policy at the best price. You can rest assured that your information is secure, confidential, and protected. Call today at 706-996-2045. Welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing this conversation with Ashlee Griffin, a mother's daughter that stayed in the fight, did all that she could, and now, Ashlee, you have founded Lola
Strong Cares Foundation.
Lola Strong Cares Foundation. Yes. And that's intended to help others that's coming behind you navigate their way through pancreatic cancer. You were on the front line and you lived it. Right. As an only child left, because your mom had 2. Yes. And you say other life things. You lost your brother.
Yes, ma'am.
And so mom had you.
Yes.
And you were still fighting.
Yes.
So you turned your pain into a purpose.
Yes, ma'am.
And you walking by faith and not by sight. Because you said to me when we went to the break, I don't even know how I'm just doing this. Because it's your mission.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I've had others. It's like, what can I do with this pain? And that is why you have the walk. You have an annual walk.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was great. I wasn't able to be there because it was a very busy season for me
ma'am.
in my other life, but I saw that you had Marshall Greg Countryman, Toya and her family, others that have been touched by this disease. And I just think it's important that we try to educate our community.
Oh, yeah.
So we can start looking, what are the signs?
Well, here's the thing. Pancreatic cancer is the third cause of cancer-related death. It's the third leading cause of cancer-related death, and you don't hear about it. And it's number 3.
We always hear about what breast cancer, lung cancer,
prostate, and those are the ones. I know prostate and breast have the prognosis are usually good,
right?
But pancreatic cancer is not. But it's the top 3,
right?
And before she got diagnosed, I knew nothing about it. I ain't know nothing.
So now your purpose is to learn everything and educate everyone that you can.
Yes.
Right.
Because where the pancreas sits behind the stomach, it's hard to see on scans. So it's normally missed in the early stages of it. So they call her tumor stage 3.
Really?
Yeah, because it's hidden. So it doesn't come up on CAT scans and PET scans.
It's behind
the stomach. So, and her actual tumor was on the head of her pancreas.
Really?
Pressing up against the main artery. Really? So she was a very high-risk surgery patient, and nobody in Columbus would touch her. That's how we ended up at Emory.
You had to go to where they specialize, and it's a learning center and all of that. Well, Lola I'm a Carver girl, but that's all we used to have back in the day before you were born was Carver and Spencer. But Lola is a Spencer girl, and she was a class
active transfer, active
alumni class of 1969. So yes, we know a lot of people.
They are very supportive.
Oh yes, honey, they are die-hard. I mean, really, anything happens, they're going to show up in those green and gold jackets. Yes, and then our dear friend Gloria Jackson, who is die-hard alumni from Spencer. Whoever passes away, whether they are from Willis Plaza, wherever they are, if they are a Spencerian, she's going to get the word out. I mean, really. Now, that's not her role, an official role, but because she loves her school. Right.
My mama loved her school.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, before you all came about, we only had 2 choices.
She loved her school. And it's good that the walk is there.
Right. It honors her also.
Because, you know, she loved her school.
And you were at the new stadium this year.
The sports complex behind the school.
Right. So that was, and it was from Coach Spencer. Yeah, so it was named after him.
We wasn't at that particular stadium.
The
big one. We was on the
you was on the physical campus.
Right, we was on the
Spencer.
campus of Spencer.
Oh, okay, because I thought you got so big that you were going to the big.
No, we ain't got there yet.
You're going to get there. You're going to get there. Just keep educating people.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are some of the symptoms you saw and the changes, the physical changes that might help others?
Weight loss. Rapid weight loss.
Really?
Jaundice. And jaundice is the yellowing of the skin. So your eyes yellow, her mouth, I mean, everything was just turning yellow.
Really?
Yeah. She had a bile blockage. So that's where that was coming from. But that rapid weight loss, and she had onset diabetes. Now that's important to me.
Okay.
Because in the African American community,
tell me.
Diabetes runs rampant.
It runs rampant.
So I always tell people now, if you get diagnosed with onset diabetes all of a sudden, and you never had issues with your sugar, you want to tell them to look further.
Really?
Because she had never had diabetes. She had never been
diagnosed
with diabetes.
Did it run in her family? Because sometimes it didn't run in her family.
No. Cancer didn't even run in our family.
Really?
No. And I'm going to share this. Genetic testing is available for hereditary cancer. I have been genetically tested because she had pancreatic cancer. That's hereditary cancer. So my doctor recommended that I go through.
I didn't know that.
I get
so pancreatic cancer
is hereditary.
Is it? Oh my goodness!
And insurance will pay for your genetic testing if you're high risk.
You're educating us because I didn't know that pancreatic was hereditary. Okay. So we always know people look for the gene with breast cancer, but I didn't know that we could look for the pancreatic cancer.
It's a list of cancers that's hereditary. They tested me for all of them.
And your insurance paid for it?
I never saw a bill from them.
Okay.
Like, and so, and I'm gonna say it's because I'm a high risk.
I got you.
And
but
so I'm
but,
guessing
but that's
why.
useful information.
Right.
Right. Because a lot of times in our community, people don't go to the doctor like they should because they're worried about the bills and the co-pays.
Right.
Well, my daddy said this, and he lived to be 92 years old, and he was in his right mind the day that he moved from work to reward. He said, if I'm dead, they can't get it.
Right.
I mean, so we have to start feeling that way.
Right.
Because healthcare is very expensive.
Right.
But you want to live.
Right.
So are you going to just save money, or are you just like get yourself taken care of and then figure it out later?
Right.
That's just the way I feel about it.
And then too, you know, you got to be honest when you go to the doctor and tell the doctor your family history.
Right.
Because if I hadn't never shared that my mom passed with pancreatic cancer, then they wouldn't have recommended me get genetically tested.
Right. You can't have secrets when it comes to your health care.
And so now, you know, now I'll get scanned if need be. We'll start scanning early as opposed to late if the potential is there.
Right. So you're gonna be proactive. We got to stop being reactionary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we don't want to wait till we stage 3, 4, and at the end of the road, and then think we can walk it back and fix it.
Right.
You can't. You know, and that's why this conversation is so important. Now, you're very knowledgeable. I've learned a lot from you. I always want to learn. I want to learn.
Yes,
so when I speak to somebody about this, I can speak intelligently.
Right.
You know, and as I was sharing with the people here, this is a community service. This show is.
Right.
And I want to make sure that we are always educating and informing the people in our community, and particularly in my village, about things that they normally would not know. Right. You know, because at this stage in my life, I'm tired of making those trips to the mortuary and to the cemetery. And when we don't do what we're supposed to do with our health, that's the outcome. Okay, so what we're going to do now is take our final break, go to our sponsors, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Carter Counseling Services in the White House at the Elms, 1846 Buena Vista Road, providing services to enhance the quality of life for clients by promoting healthy, stable interactions within relationships, counseling support to assist individuals in positive personal growth. Call Mr. Carter today at 706-570-8698. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road. Trusted by generations. Roz Cafe and Catering Services. Choose Roz as your personal chef, knowing every dish is prepared with attention to the finest details and extra care. She will make your next event one to remember, with 2 convenient locations to serve you: 390 Batzel Avenue, Fort Benning, and 3418 Buena Vista Road. Visit rozcafe.com. Welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing this very important conversation with the wonderful daughter of Lola, Ashlee Griffin. Ashlee, I am so impressed. When we were in the break, you were having a conversation with my husband, and I'm glad you were having that teachable moment with him. Yeah, but you have really mastered the information, and I applaud that as a daughter that had a parent, you know, with the end of life disease. You learned about nutrition. You did all that Ashlee could do to try to keep mom here. And you said, well, I started juicing and all of that, and she did really good.
She did really well. Greens and fresh fruit, we were blending, juicing, and she started doing well. And then when I went back to work, because I was out on FMLA, of course, and when I went back to work, and she was better, and you know, at a point where she could maneuver on her own, she started backsliding, eating what she wanted to eat, and I looked at her one day and I was like, Mom, you ain't looking right. So I said, I'm gonna call John B. Ames and set up an appointment. They did a CAT scan, and then that's when we found out she was in disease progression.
Really?
So that was the option to either go back on chemo or go home on palliative care or hospice. And he strongly recommended hospice, so we went on hospice.
Really? So how did you find your way home? I mean, that's, people don't, until you have experienced that, it's like you walking in a fog.
I pulled a curtain. You know, in the exam room, they have a curtain. And she was sitting on the table, and I pulled that curtain back, and I just was bawling. And she peeked around there. I said, you're going to be all right. No tears.
Still
smiling.
Walking by faith. She walked down in that faith.
And she eventually stopped. Once we got her home on hospice, she was able to be a part of her hospice intake. But a couple of months, she stopped walking. Just really started declining. She just was kind of bedridden. And
how was her spirit? Because Toya was sharing that her mom had, you know, a woman of faith. She just went silent. She didn't participate in anything.
She didn't go silent. The day she died, she called my whole name.
Really?
Hours before she died. She knew what was going on till she left here, and I was with her. It was just her and I when she took her last breath. Really? And I rubbed her because she was fighting, and I said, Mama, you can go see my brother because I know you will. And I'm sure he waiting on you. And it's okay.
Right, for the other baby.
Yeah.
Because you had some time.
I had some time.
You let her go where the other baby. So you released her.
I had to release her because she was gonna try to fight.
Yeah.
But I think that was the end of the fight. I could look at her and tell it was the end of the fight, and
tired.
I had to let her go.
She was tired.
Yeah, she was tired. She had called me in the room one day and she said, I done prayed for God to come and get me. So
she was letting you know.
She said, so I want you to pray the same thing, and I want you to be okay with it. And I was like, no, I'm not praying that.
Right.
And I went
you were not in our own selfishness.
Right.
Like, no,
but now I understand it.
Right.
I understand
what she was saying.
I had to let her go.
Yeah.
Because her quality of life was just poor.
And it's selfish when you want to just keep holding on. So hospice was good for you. They supported you.
Yes. A
lot of people run from that.
Well, I didn't allow them to come in and help me bathe and do all that stuff for her. I only let the nurse come. So I only did, and then the social worker had to come once a month. The case manager, social worker, whatever they're called, they had to come once a month. But I didn't let CNAs because I didn't need that. I could take care of my own mama.
Right. Right.
So I was very, very
hands-on.
Yes.
Well,
yes, I was very hands-on. Like they couldn't talk to her without me being present.
Exactly.
Yes,
I know that. I know that. I've been there. To the point my 92-year-old father said to me, "You are not my mama."
Right.
And I said, "But I'm in charge."
Right. I'm in charge.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's what she trained you on, to be this great woman that you are.
Yes,
and I just see why Toya adores you.
Yes, ma'am.
She really holds you in very high esteem. And I'm glad that you were able to spend this time with us today.
Yes,
but I want you to share, before we run out of time, how people can reach you.
Yes,
what you have shared here today, even in the commercial breaks, when we took our breaks. I think it's important. I know you're tired. You say you run out of clothes for the month. But I think it's important that you go to our villages. And you have to teach. I don't know if you've been to our senior citizen programs. I hate to give you that assignment on TV. You know, my old social worker, Toya, and I worked at the Battle Women Shelter.
Okay.
I got to give you that assignment.
Yes, ma'am.
Because they need to be informed. And a lot of times, as the parents get older, they like young kids. They'll hide things from them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because at one point when Daddy wasn't eating, we would have food for him. He was hiding it in the back of the refrigerator. Then when we leave, he'd take it outside and give it to the stray cats. See, so we couldn't, where we thought we were measuring his intake.
Right,
he was slick with that.
Yeah.
He was slick with that. And they do that.
She did that.
Okay, see, I didn't know that.
She hid some stuff from me.
Right. And so that's the things, those are the things, I mean, that I want you to share. I know you work.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you do. But the Lord's going to give you strength. No, because these are all very important, and you're self-taught. See, when you walk the walk, you know, and you taught yourself because you were trying to keep your beautiful mother here.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you can speak to it firsthand. You know, it's not, it's the difference between theory and practical.
Right.
You got practical.
I got practical.
They might have theory in the book, but you walk the walk and you've talked the talk.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So how can they reach you?
So I have a website. It's the www.the
Lola Strong Cares Foundation. Okay.
.org.
Okay.
It's a long name, but I had to do it.
That's
that way,
okay.
'cause that's the name of you know, and we take donations year round.
Okay.
What we do with the money this year, we're donating from everything that we raise for the walk. We're donating to the West Georgia Cancer Coalition.
Okay, so that's Cheryl Johnson. Okay.
That's my soror.
Right, okay, all right. No, because Cheryl's granddaddy was actually my father's pastor.
Okay.
From a little boy. Not Cheryl's daddy.
Okay.
Cheryl's granddaddy.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, the legendary Reverend Avery.
Yeah.
Yes, but and then of course Cheryl's dad and everything. Yeah, that's where my father is buried at the church. That Cheryl's grandfather was the leader.
Okay.
And the fellowship hall is named for Cheryl's father.
Okay.
So you never know how people know people. Exactly.
I call her Auntie Cheryl.
Right, and so she's doing a lot
She is.
in the community for helping people and those that struggle with cancer and expenses. They can go to Cheryl's organization and then ask for financial assistance.
Right.
So you're donating
to help with that because she is, you know, more established.
Exactly.
And whatever we raise will help because that's what I want to do.
Exactly. And then she has a board and they look at it and they're able to help. I know some people that she's helped. Right. Even a college student now at Albany State. Right. Well, I am so honored to have had this time with you today. I will let our mutual friend, Toya, know that it was a great visit. You were everything and then more than what she said you would be.
I appreciate it.
Stay in the fight. Keep up the good work.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. All right. This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.
What up, world? What's up, Columbus? Be sure to tune in every Sunday, Straightforward with Gloria Strode, right here on NBC 38.